My guest is a trained pastry chef from an upscale Japanese steakhouse. I'm excited to welcome Arielle Fernandez.
Hi.
We jumped right into it. Sorry.
Yes, that's okay.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited to have you on. Let me get these. We're coming in a little hot here, but I'm excited to have you on. I had a ton of people show interest in this episode, and I didn't realize how many people listening and watching were into food and stuff. So you're a pastry chef. I knew you personally, or kind of, through social media and stuff. And I've been watching the menu and burnt and really getting into food stuff. And I wanted to ask you some questions from behind the counter. So,
okay, cool.
When did you actually decide to be a chef? Was this a lifelong thing?
No. So I initially went to school for art and design because I spent my whole childhood thinking I was going to be an artist or an interior designer or make movies.
Okay.
Because I always thought I was way too cool for a normal job. And
Yeah.
I still think I am because I still think a chef is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
But then I think I was 17. It was college or keep line cooking because I was a line cook at a Southern food restaurant, which is a chef on a lower level. So basically just an hourly employee. I was frying chicken, quite literally. So just frying chicken.
Where were you at though? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
So I was
what part
out
of
there.
Vegas?
I grew up kind of a little bit everywhere. My parents lived on both sides of town because I had a divorced family. So grew up all over Vegas.
Were you in the casinos an early age?
Not kind of my stepdad worked in the casinos at the Caesar's Palace, so I spent a good amount of time there.
Yeah.
But not a lot, not for living. Everyone thinks that when you live in Vegas, you live in a casino. When I've literally could name 5 I haven't been to ever. So
Yeah. Well, you just went back there too, right?
yeah, I just went last week with my boyfriend and we drove down to California too.
Nice. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. I got to see family. He met the whole family. It was fun, intimidating, but really fun. So
Yeah, I lived in Vegas for a while, and it's definitely when you live there, it's just different because there's so much entertainment there. It's like an island of entertainment. There's never a shortage of stuff to do, but then there's also a lot of bad things that you can get into.
Yeah,
So it's weird when you
nonstop.
live there for sure.
Definitely. Yeah, it just never ends. You could get into trouble all times a day whenever you want to. And I did, and that's why I left.
Yeah,
So.
gotcha. Well, before we dive into just your backstory more, if you are watching us on YouTube, hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit the notifications bell. If you have a question for Arielle or myself, please throw it in the comment section. And if not, just throw in your favorite portion of this episode. Just do it. I don't know. And then patreon.com, if you want to support us, patreon.com/FNFpod. Just have to do that. Sorry.
No worries.
So you started as a line cook,
Yeah.
and then what, you were going to go into movies or film or art?
Well, I wanted to go to art school. Ultimately, it was college or keep cooking. And I was 17, kind of hated life. So I was I'm going to keep cooking, but in Seattle. So I moved out here on an internship, actually, with the restaurant I'm working with currently.
How old are you?
I'm 21.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I thought you...
Yeah, everyone does.
Yeah.
No, I'm 21. I moved out here when I was 17, and I've been living on my own since.
Damn.
Yeah.
Was it fuck my parents type?
No,
energy,
I mean,
or-
they're really... I grew up in a family of chefs. Being a chef in my family is like being a doctor.
Really?
Yeah. So everyone does it. All my siblings, brother, dad. My dad's a server. My stepdad's a restaurateur. My mom owns restaurants. So
Damn.
it's in my blood, quite
Who's
literally.
the best?
I think me.
Really?
No, definitely. I mean, I'm the youngest of my family, so no, I'm not the best. My stepdad is a messiah of restaurant cooking. So,
Really?
Yeah, he's a genius, very smart. My dad is an excellent cook. He's Mexican, so he cooks the best Mexican food ever. So
That's fucking rad.
yeah, all chefs.
How are
in
you
my
not
family.
enormous though? I would, if you grew up with that many people, is it how do you guys divide up who makes what when you're in a family like that?
Well, fun thing about chefs is that if you know us, we don't cook at all at home.
Really?
So no one cooked ever besides my dad because he's not a chef. He is a server at a restaurant and he does a thing on the side as well. So he cooked a lot growing up, but like other than that, no one else really.
Why
Besides
is
him.
that? Is it just you're so sick of it by the time you get home?
Well, it's like, yeah. I mean, I guess no one wants to come home and like do their job, you know? I like if you're a landscaper, you don't come home and like pull your own weeds because
Yeah.
like who wants to do that? You
Or
just
massage
got done.
therapist or
Yeah,
something.
you don't
like,
want to come home and massage your spouse unless you do whatever. That's good for you, but
Yeah.
I don't. So
what's your like when you do go home and you have to make something for yourself? Is it just like kids' cuisine or something? Just like you don't give a fuck at all about what you're
well,
eating?
if it's just for me, it's like dino chicken nuggets.
Really?
Yeah, but if it's like me and my boyfriend, I'll like step it up. Like something really basic.
Curly fries with it.
You know, I did like chicken piccata yesterday, which was like, or I'll spice up ramen. But really, I mean, I feed myself way less than I feed everybody else literally in the whole
Really?
world. Yeah. It's like, well, one, I don't have a good schedule of eating because work is so crazy.
Yeah.
So when I'm off, I can eat, but like when I'm at work, I eat maybe once a day.
How long are your hours for?
They kind of vary anywhere between like 10 to 12 to sometimes 14 hours a day.
And is it crazy, like early times of the day, or is it?
No, it's anywhere from like, I'm salary, so there's some flexibility in my schedule. So like 9 a.m. to 11 is where I start, and then I'll leave from like 9 p.m. to 11. If I'm closing, then around midnight.
That's a long day.
Yeah, but I've done it for like the last 2 years, so it's kind of like instinct. Now.
When you were a line cook, though, was it that way too?
No.
So this is
So hourly employees, you don't do that because you're getting, well, you know, like the whole salary thing. Oh yeah. Yeah. So you get paid on an hourly level when you're salary, you don't. So obviously they can keep me there a lot longer now because I'm not getting paid hourly. And as a line cook, they would not do that.
Yeah, we don't have to go super far.
Yeah.
I know we got to be respectful of like what NDAs or whatever you want to call it. But I mainly like I wanted to have you on because there's a lot of people that are curious about what goes on behind the counter. And like when you're thinking about becoming a chef, was there somebody that like inspired you to get into this? Or did you have like someone you revered?
Well, at the restaurant I was working at when I first started cooking, I was a hostess when I first started. And the head chef at the time, he was like more of the kitchen lead. It was a smaller restaurant, like 3-person line, really tiny, like hallway sized line.
Yeah.
And he just kind of jokingly was like, "Oh, well, you can try cooking," because we were slow. And I was like, "Fuck you, I will." Like, okay. So I did, and I ended up really liking it. And then I was just on the schedule every weekend.
What did you first make?
It was eggs. So it was a Southern food restaurant, and
Just
I worked
scrambled
mornings. So now like saute eggs, so like over easy, all of it. I mean, and I know that sounds so simple, but the egg station is the hardest station in a restaurant.
Why?
Till death. Because you know how pissy people get with their eggs? If you fuck up and over easy, you're done.
Really?
You're done for. You should leave anyway. Like breakfast, people are so grumpy and they want it right. And so it's busy. You have to be quick. You have to be organized. Hardest of all time easily was being a saute cook at a breakfast restaurant.
So how did you learn though? Was it just trial and error?
Yeah, I just would hang out with the guys on the line and just kind of fuck around with them and flip eggs, and they made it really fun. It was always 3 guys on the line. I was super close with them, and so I just kind of learned by fucking around, and then I started getting a schedule and like every weekend in like really busy times. So you just kind of sink or swim, and I started getting pretty good at it, and that's when I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a chef. So it wasn't like any one person. I'd say it was like the community of cooks that was around me when I first started cooking.
And do you still feel that like amongst people you cook with today? Like it's a normal thing in a kitchen that like, because in all the like movies and stuff I've watched, there's like a family element to that.
Mm-hmm. All my sous chefs currently that work with me and my head chef are easily best friends / closest to family I've had in the city. I mean,
what is that drives that? Is it just like close quarters, or you guys have to trust each other? Or
it's everything. I mean, I've worked with these guys since I was 17 years old now. I've started, so I've started with them since I was a kid, you know?
And moved to a new place.
Exactly. And some of them have been here since my first day at the restaurant, and most of us got promoted to sous chefs together. So there's like, they're my family. I've been with them since I was 17. They've seen me grow up into a chef, but also like an adult person, which has been crazy for them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And I'm with them like 12 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week. My head chef is there all the time. And he's like basically my dad. I swear by him. I think he's the smartest man I've ever met. And, you just trust these people a lot because he helps me, as a chef and as a person. I've learned a lot from them and just the restaurant in general.
So was there, you didn't go to culinary school?
No, my school was the restaurant. Yeah. I started as an intern and worked every station in the restaurant, including front of house too. So I served, hosted, all that. And then I fell in love with the kitchen. I fell in love with the kitchen.
I think you've been okay so far. I don't think you said anything
Yeah. So I fell in love with the kitchen there, and everyone was so cool to work with, and I get to work with such cool ingredients there, and there's like not a huge like pocket over what we can do. They're not super picky. If I wanted to make a new item, they'd be like, okay, do it, That's
fucking rad.
So I was just drawn to it. And
what are like for most culinary schools, I've always been curious about that because I just would watch a shitload of TV and they'd be like the Culinary Institute of America or whatever.
Oh,
it's just a bunch of people with knives and shit. Like, what are they teaching you in those programs?
So they're good programs. I won't trash them. I actually did a 1-week program at the CIA. It was super dummy expensive because they're ridiculously expensive schools, and they do help. I don't trash them. Some chefs are indifferent on culinary school. I think that they teach you a lot of the basics. I was fortunate enough to grow up around like a restaurant family.
What are the basics though?
Like knife skills. So like brunoiing and how you're holding a knife and where your hands go on the knife, and sanitation and stuff, because like a lot of people don't know you can't leave chicken out on the counter for a certain amount of time, or how eggs are stored, or like basic stuff and you would think people would know. These people's kids don't. And so you send them to culinary school before they go to a restaurant so some chef doesn't come up and tell them they're a piece of garbage idiot.
I took this family consumer science class in high school, and they showed us bacteria that grows on the countertop after like an hour of like just food being out and shit. It was like black lights and you could see it was the grossest shit I've ever seen. And like there's just so much, aren't there like tapeworms and a lot of pork?
I don't know about pork. I try and stay clear of the meat side of things. Yeah. But I know fish has a lot of parasites naturally. Not all fish, but some cods do. Just naturally.
You don't eat meat?
I do eat meat. I don't eat a lot of red meat. I eat a lot of chicken and a lot of fish. I worked at a steakhouse for 4 years, so I'm kind of like good on red meat. Yeah. I'll eat it if it's in front of me, but I won't like reach for it.
What's the like meat that's like super red meat that's super small? Is it Wagyu?
Or Wagyu A5.
What is the deal with that? Like, why is it so popular?
Well, because it's super not exclusive, but it's expensive and it's kind of hard to come by. We get ours from Japan sometimes. Actually, scratch that. We don't get them from Japan anymore at all. Yeah. I don't think we have in 3 years. We get ours from all over the world. It's like all over the cows that are. I don't even know where we get them at this point. The better person to ask is my colleague that I brought with me, because I'm just the pastry chef. Yeah. I don't really deal with the meats that much.
But just like in general, isn't Wagyu like
it's super luxury, buttery A5 steak basically. So it's like a steak that's gonna melt in your mouth. It's not as chewy. It's more like fatty. It's marbled when you cut it. And they're normally in like a smaller portion because it is so buttery and fatty.
Do you like it?
No. I mean, I like it, but like I don't like order it. Like I will eat it. If someone's like, you want a piece? I'll be like, for sure. But would I go to a restaurant and order it? No, because it's just red meat isn't like my go-to. But my boyfriend would. And he likes it. And so I'd get it for him.
So is it like... It's super small portions, right?
You can get them in bigger portions, but it's expensive. Yeah. So a lot of people get them in small portions. It's also extremely rich. So it's like after a little bit of it, you're probably good. Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I felt I went to what was the name? it's something Howie's.
Oh, John Howie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in on the east side of Seattle, and it was my buddy's birthday, and they were like super small portions, and I had the tiniest amount, and I felt full
Yeah.
afterwards.
Yeah, John Howie's decently comparable to where I work. And I'd say, yeah, they're pretty filling, really rich. That's
Yeah.
why I don't really like it, is because after I eat it, I feel kind of like
It's
gross.
heavy.
Yeah, I don't like feeling heavy after I eat. So I'm like, good on that.
Gotcha. All right. I know, like, I was going through your social media a little bit, and you had put up like some stuff with Bourdain. Like, was he somebody that influenced you early in life, or like?
Um, I mean, so I'm pretty young, so I didn't know about Bourdain. I mean, like when Bourdain was happening and stuff, I was like 7 or 6. So when he died, I was still pretty young. So I really didn't become like such an avid fan until maybe like 3 or 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just was obsessed. I read all his books in like 2 months, watched every show ever. I just think that I've always loved writing, and I think it's beautiful how he can incorporate words and make art out of such like mundane experiences, like getting ramen. Not that it's mundane, but to a sense, some of the places were just like ramen. And I appreciated that because I think it's whimsical and it's exciting. And that's what I like about food. So I've always really liked how he talks about food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kitchen Confidential was.
Oh, I love it. It was so good. It's really gritty and gross. And I think it really showed what a kitchen's like.
Is there like an artistic quality to being a chef?
Yeah, oh, definitely. I think that's why I chose being a chef so easily instead of art school, is because I was still creating or had some kind of platform, just not the one I had initially thought I would have.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I make my own dishes. I choose the colors of the desserts, how they look, texture, everything. I mean, it's not like art is beautiful and you're painting a painting and you're picking the colors and the textures of the paint, but with food, you're adding crunch and zest and flavor and texture and all these things. So there's so much more to consider when making food, that it's like this 3-dimensional art that people eat.
Yeah, especially pastry, right?
Especially pastry, yeah.
Like that has to be like it's such a granular level, right? Like that you're thinking about all like just the texture of the stuff, like how small it is. And like, do you have to compromise like appearance versus taste at times?
Well, that idea generally as a good pastry chef is you shouldn't, you know, something should look equally as beautiful as it does taste. I think with me as a pastry chef, I love making things cute. Like at no cost, I will make it adorable. And flavor is obviously the biggest thing, because at the end of the day, we're here to eat food. And that's what we want. No one wants a cake that tastes like shit, even though it looks like a teddy bear. What's the point? So I think... Do you
ever watch Cake Boss?
Yes.
Buddy? Like, are his cakes bullshit?
Well, I like them. So there's a like little cake shop, a Buddy cake shop in Las Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're pretty good. Like his cake bases are good. However, he does use a lot of fondants and like sugar decorating. I don't think it has a lot of flavor. Probably wouldn't eat very well. But when you're getting a cake, like a 3-layer...
Eat very well. I've never heard anybody use that expression.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I use it all the time.
Yeah.
Like it just doesn't eat well.
Yeah.
But when you're getting like a cake that looks like a car, you're probably not going to be like, oh, the fondant's kind of dry.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
It's
River.
more
it
for
looks
the
like a
appearance.
Car. Yeah, it's the Batmobile.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, I love that fucking show. I fucked with that guy so hard. I felt like embarrassed watching it at times because the cooking shows, like, I'm not a chef, I don't cook or whatever, but I just get drawn into them. I didn't realize how many people feel that way though.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's something calming about it. I don't know what it is, but I like watching people cook too.
Yeah. Do you like watching them eat your food, or is that weird for you?
I don't hate it. I don't like love unwarranted opinions because I'm pretty like, I have a pretty high ego, as a chef does. So I love feedback, but then there's like, sometimes it's like, if I just spent like the whole 6 months on this one dessert for a menu, and then someone will be like, well, chef, I gotta say, and I'm like, no, you don't.
Is it like a customer or another?
Anyone really.
Yeah.
It's just like sometimes it's too tender when you put your like heart, soul, and everything into what you're working on for like I'm there for like 10 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then I give them this dessert that I spent 6 months on and they're like, a little dry. And I'm like, do you want me to die? Because I will. Like, it's just like you spend so much time on it and then anybody and their mom
Has an opinion on it.
yeah, everybody.
Yeah. Or like if you put something up on social and it's just like if people shit on it or whatever.
Which is fine. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and I do the same thing, but it hurts my feelings.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, so I love it. Whatever. Everyone can keep doing that. It's okay. It's going to happen, but it does hurt.
It would be a little fucked up if it didn't, right? Like if like you put that much time and energy and you just generally didn't care.
Yeah.
Or
yeah
like it didn't bother you at all. I mean, I feel that way with anything like stand up or even podcasting, shit like that. It's like you're creating this thing, you're trying to do this from scratch, and then like I don't know, 5 words from somebody on the internet
It
could
sends
just
you, yeah.
ruin your day.
Yeah, and it's probably not very healthy. I'm sure I should be better at taking criticism, but I'm going to keep doing this for a while, probably. Until I get more, I feel like it'll come with age and security of like feeling confident in what I put out. But for right now, the validation helps.
Yeah,
so,
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an artist, so it's like, it's part of why you're doing that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It feels good to have people like the stuff that you're into, and then when it misses or feels like it misses or is interpreted as a miss, like then it feels like you fucked up as what I mean. Have you ever like just not necessarily like in this I mean, trying to navigate?
Yeah, no worries.
Have you ever like royally fucked up?
Oh yeah.
Like
yeah.
Like, do you have any stories from that?
I have a bunch. I mean, I fucked up a lot. You got to realize I went from being a line cook to
frying chicken to
to being like a pastry chef of a huge, massive restaurant beyond my brain capacity in like less than a year, almost.
Yeah.
Like less than a year and a half, really. So at first I fucked up everything. Well, to me, it felt like I did. To everyone else, it probably was pretty minor, but to me, I was like fucking things up left and right.
But you have to,
well,
right?
Yeah, but with my job, it's like when I fuck up sometimes, if I like forget to make, let's say I like, this is a bad example, and it's never happened before because I'm extremely thorough and talented. But if I woke up at like 1 p.m. one day, let's say I went out all night the night before, overslept, woke up at 1 p.m. today, and I'm the girl making bread for the restaurant, that would fuck up the whole restaurant for the whole night and probably tomorrow, because then 1 p.m. is way too late to start bread, and I make the bread for all the restaurant, the hamburgers, everything, our bread service. So my one choice of going out the night before fucks up everybody else's choice for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's like the biggest thing.
Yeah, but you didn't like, it wasn't something like ruining a huge...
Yeah, I mean, so there was a Thanksgiving, or was it Christmas? It was probably Christmas. I rewrite menus, do tastings on them, practice them a few times before the events. We sell out like 100-person brunches or events for special events and stuff like that, and we write new menus for them. I did an eggnog ice cream. Ice cream is my favorite thing to make, but I was baby pastry chef, still starting off. I thought it would all set, and I wake up for the day of the event. It's in like 3 hours. None of the ice cream is set. You can't set ice cream like in 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I have maybe
And does the eggnog make
guests.
it harder to set too?
Yeah, because it's super fat, and like I don't even know why it didn't set. I never even got that far.
Yeah.
Because it's like 2 hours away. There's 500 guests coming in, and eggnog ice cream is on every single one of their menus.
Yeah.
And I have no set eggnog ice cream.
Yeah.
And that was a huge fuck up on my part. Like,
and it's
massive.
like the time of the year too where people are, ooh, egg, like that's why it's on the menu, because it's like surprising.
It's like a preset menu too. So their options are like 4 things. So if this one thing isn't there, there's only 3 other things. They're paying a set amount of money for one of these desserts. So I get like absolutely, it was bad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't that bad. I came back from it with grace and ease, and we did eggnog shooters, like milkshakes. I just poured a bunch of milk into it,
Yeah.
made them milkshakes.
Were people into it?
Yeah, weirdly, people were, because they were super boozy of an ice cream, which is also why I didn't think it set. I add a bunch of alcohol into everything.
Yeah.
So I think it makes it better. So I added way too much alcohol into this ice cream, pretty sure, never checked. And it just didn't set. So I blended them into milkshakes, and it was like eggnog shooters with alcohol
Yeah.
and with cream. And it sounds bad, but it was actually pretty good.
Yeah. I mean,
So
God, that's dope. I did have like a couple questions myself, and then a bunch of listeners ask questions. But like when people are picking a restaurant, like here or anywhere else, like what would you recommend for researching those places? Like how do you pick where to go to eat yourself?
Okay. So I'm kind of weird. I'll like go through like TikTok or Instagram and look at cute little videos of places I want to try, and then I like save them in folders and reference back later. I'm also in the industry though, so like every other day another person's like, "Hey, you got to try out this place," or like a chef will message me and be like, "Hey, just opened up somewhere here. You should come in and try it." And so
That's tight.
then I'll go there, or I'll see it on Instagram and like just want to go try it. It's a pretty tight knit community of restaurant people. So there's a lot of like communication between restaurants. And so we'll all go try each other's places.
That's
It's
cool.
cool.
I mean, I think comedy is kind of similar to, or just anything with like music and shit like that. Like when you're doing it, you have the inside look.
Yeah, the industry.
Yeah. But is there, for normal people, like besides social media, like what would you recommend?
For normal people, Open Table, it's an app that does a lot of like reservations, but it also has like a good like set list of higher end restaurants if you're looking for something like higher end, which regularly I am. If I do go out, I'll go somewhere like a little bit nicer just to try out different places, research and development stuff. So I'll go to Open Table, look at what people are booking, because likelihood if there's a lot of traction happening on the app, a lot of people are getting foot traffic there. It's something I need to try, see what they're doing different.
Gotcha. Is there anything that like people should not do, like if you're being a good person at a restaurant, like a good customer, like you said, feedback can be trick, like what would you?
I mean, feedback, you're just telling the server, give as much feedback as you want. I mean, whatever, it's gonna happen, I can take it, it's fine. Tip your server. These people live off of tips. It's our livelihood. They split it with us. They get to keep it, it's what makes the world go around.
Mm-hmm.
Tip your server. Even if the dinner is expensive, it's expensive because you're paying for quality, and it's not the server's fault that it's expensive. So I think that's the biggest one. And, just hear them out. Like, let your servers spiel, and don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of these people, like, work on their menu tours and their dialogue that they're saying, because, like, a restaurant like the one I work at is elevated and there's a lot of dimensions to our menu, and so it's better to know than not know before you order something you're not going to like. So I think the big thing is let these people guide you, because it's their job and they want to.
Okay. And then do you have a favorite place to eat in Seattle besides like a ramen that you make yourself,
or my dino chicken nuggets?
Yeah, dino nuggets.
Let's see, that's a really good question. So kind of basic, I think, but I really like Dozone or any dumplings.
Dozone fucking rips.
I love dim sum. I don't go out a lot, to be honest. There's this one restaurant I went to in Ballard. I think it's called The Chop or The Cut. I don't remember. It's a steakhouse over in Ballard. It might be the Ballard Cut. Really liked it there. That one's always... I like the George.
George.
It's over in the Fairmount Olympic Hotel or something. It's newer. They just revamped it last year. But those are some restaurants that kind of speak to me when I think of places I like.
Yeah.
Dozone.
Dozone is good. I mean, do you like Din Tai Fung?
Yes, I love Din Tai Fung. I just kind of like Dozone better. Unpopular opinion, I know.
No, I feel the same.
Yeah,
it's think weird that they're like in the window
of the same. Well,
at Din Tai Fung. Like, I don't like that I like can go up and look at them like they're at the zoo.
I would hate that too. Like, as a chef, if someone could go up and watch me, I'd be like, don't.
It's just creepy. Like,
yeah. Well, I've been to a lot of places like that. Like, it's pretty standard. And like, if you go to like noodle shops or something, like they'll have people in there like dragging the noodles out or something.
Yeah.
So, because a lot of people like to watch that stuff. I mean, as you know, people like to know what's going on. The general public is super nosy,
Yeah.
especially when it comes to restaurants.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like open concept, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you can see like into all of it. I think they have a hotline back kitchen in the back that you can't see, but everything else, I'm pretty sure you can see.
I'm trying to remember
I
what
haven't
the
been
fuck
in a while.
I went to. Not Monsoon, but that's a really good place if you haven't been. But there's a place in Ballard that I just went back to a couple weeks ago, and it'll come to me, but it's full open like it's not just behind a window. It's like you can sit at the bar in the kitchen.
Oh, okay. Huh.
Which is kind of crazy.
Yeah,
like
that
it's
is
like
cool.
they turn around and they're just like
In the kitchen?
Yeah.
Huh.
But all right, listener questions for you.
Okay.
Let me jump around. I mean, this is a good one. Angela asks, "How's it being a woman in a male dominant industry?" And then her follow up is Top Chef real? I guess those are two questions, but
which one should I start with first? The Top Chef one? Oh, I'll start with the Top Chef one.
okay.
I think so. I don't know. I mean, I've never been on Top Chef. I've been asked to do Chopped once, but I didn't do it. I think it's real as all reality TV is. Like, take it with a grain of salt. They're still cooking, so I don't think they're making that up, but I don't know. Like, I think they let you pre-plan out some of your recipes, or they'll give you a basic concept before you go on. But to be honest, not really sure.
Okay.
Never been on it. And for being a woman, I love being a woman. I mean, it's great. I think that in our industry, it can be hindering. But I've luckily been very fortunate to grow up around like super supportive men. All the guys that I've worked with in my kitchen have been super cool and very like warm and open. They've been more excited to have a woman in the kitchen than like hating it. Mm-hmm. So I can see how it can be stifling, but with my personal experience, I found that it's been a really like nurturing place for me to grow. I think maybe because I started when I was younger, they've all taken on like a brotherly role to where they help me more. But I feel like I'm pretty respected and I've earned my place just as much as these guys have, and I definitely give them a run for their money.
Yeah. Do you like, has it rubbed off on you at all though, to where like you kind of bust people's balls and like?
Yes. Oh my God, it's horrible. I like it's awful because sometimes I forget. Well, I'm around men all the time, and some of my closest friends are like well into their adulthood male friends, and they have been since I was 17. I've known these guys forever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do talk like a little boy or a 16-year-old high schooler because that's how they talk, and so much slang and boy talk, and it's gross, but they're kind of funny, and I've grown to really enjoy it. I think I do have a harder time communicating with like women my age because of it sometimes. Like I feel like I get so like used to how like profane and
I've heard kitchens are just like
extremely profane, really in good taste though. It's not like some harassment kind of stuff. It's like,
there's that movie Waiting.
Oh yeah,
with Ryan Reynolds.
I've heard about it.
Haven't seen that movie?
No, I'm a little too young for Waiting, not gonna lie. It was like before my time.
You should watch that movie if like just given this.
Everyone and their mom has told me about it. I've just never watched it, but I will check it out.
It's ridiculous.
I'll have to check it because everyone has said. Obviously.
Yeah.
I just think I don't know. I've never gotten around to it.
Okay.
I'm a big movie person. I just never seen it.
You'd definitely be into it. All right. Next question. Nick asks, after seeing the menu, would you like to do the clap during the service?
I love it. So after the menu happened, all the chefs in the kitchen started doing the like, I love you, chef. Yes, chef. And clapping. And I think it's hilarious. I wouldn't do it on like a serious note. Like if I, as a chef, I would not make my chefs clap. I think it's extremely loud. I kind of like quiet kitchens more.
Yeah.
Not my vibe. But I do like that I love you thing. I could live for that kind of intimacy with the other chefs. That would be great. It's very secure. Okay,
Logan asks a follow-up. Would you let someone live if they ordered a cheeseburger in the middle of a mass murder?
Yeah. Okay. You would be so surprised at the things people will do. That's like nothing. I wasn't surprised at that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, that movie was ridiculous.
It was a crazy movie.
All right, Mel asks, what's your favorite cooking hack and any time-saving tips to help save time prepping a meal?
have any like hacks per se. So I've like time saving tip is just have your stuff like mise en place out, which is like where you have it all measured, cut up, and ready to go, so that when you're building your recipe, you could just like, oh, it's like 2 tablespoons of salt. You already have your 2 tablespoons measured out in a bowl. You could pour it in. It's easier to follow a recipe. It's cleaner. It's just like the nicer way of doing things, and that's how professional chefs do stuff: is prep all your stuff and then build.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never do that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I don't when I'm at home,
am like fucking cutting. I'm so bad with it. It's
It takes a while to get there, but once you do start doing it, it's just like a more organized way. I don't do it every time, but you should. It's nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. Probably the last question I got for you is, best and worst comments you've ever gotten from food you've made.
Oh. Worst, I think one time I spent, and I kind of don't want to be too specific because if any of my coworkers watch this, they'll know exactly who said it, and then they'll be like, wow, you're still bringing this up? But I spent like 3 months on a dessert once. It was for like a holiday or something, and I spent a lot of time. I was clearly distraught about it. Like, I looked like shit at the restaurant. I was tired, you know? I gave it to the whole staff to try, and this one server was like, okay, it's really specific. He was like, you know, the texture isn't working for me. And it's like the smallest thing ever, but I like, after 3 days of like not sleeping and dying over this dessert, my eyes started twitching. I was like, it's not working for you. I was like, so sorry. But that's like the worst. I haven't gotten like your shit's trash or anything.
Yeah. Best.
Best? I just like when, no, I don't know. Like, it's like when people like say you did a good job. It's like, yeah, thanks. But it's like, it's all kind of like a grain of salt. Like, unless it's like my head chef or my mom being like, wow, that was amazing. It's just all kind of like, that's good. You know, I can't like, there's no notable like, wow.
Yeah. It's like you didn't lose rather than winning, right?
Yeah. It's like I've gotten some good jobs, but until I mean, everyone like says good job, you know, obviously, and congratulates me, but there's not one that I can like really think about that was like significant. There's been a lot of like credits to the restaurant I'm at, and it's all been really good, but not one in specific. And same as the bad one. I mean, it wasn't even that bad of a commentary. It was just a little thing.
Do you like, if you were to, Alexa asked this too, if you named a dish after yourself or anything, what would it be, and what would it taste like?
Oh, named a dish after
Is that a weird
myself.
question to ask?
Kind of. I don't know if I'd ever name a dish after myself unless it was like mermaid themed or something. But I don't think I would ever do, because I do desserts, right? So it'd be kind of weird if I had like the Ariel, unless it was like in the sky or a mermaid. And I don't have either of those planned. But if I did, I would probably make it taste florally and very acidic, in the realms of like cake or tea flavored cake of some sort with chocolate, and it would look like a flower.
So you get an idea at least.
I mean, that's the vibe I was getting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that was pretty much what I had for you for questions. If people are interested in like following you and just like what you do, is there a good place for them to find you?
Just my Instagram at Arielle Lynn.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on. Like, this was super fun, and I definitely learned a lot. If you are watching this on YouTube, hit that like button, share, subscribe. If you have a question for myself or Arielle, definitely throw it in the comment section. And then we are on Patreon, patreon.com/FNFpod. As always, follow us on Instagram at FNFpod, and we're going to leave you with Jaga.
I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. I just make the waves, I don't write them. I can hear the lyrics in my spirit as I write them. Why you wanna walk and talk just like them? I can't get caught up in all the hype and the excitement. My wave pool, Welcome to my wave pool, my wave pool. 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 Welcome to my wave pool.